Hey there, guys. All right, today we are back with some more History Matters, and this time we are hitting up the question, why didn't the Arab world unite? A short animated documentary. Now my answer is quite simple. Europeans. Uh, Europeans, I believe, not throwing their support behind the one dude that probably could have united the Arab world, and then the Saudi family came up and they're like, we're gonna unite Arabia, but then nothing else or some shit like that. I don't know. Europeans mainly, and then probably number two. I'm sure there's probably some. The Sunni Shia divide probably causes also a big hurdle in uniting the Arabic world, but we'll see if I'm correct. Before we dive in, though, make sure you go and check out the links in the description box below. I would love to join the Discord, follow me over at Twitch, and please do go check out the two gaming channels here on YouTube. One is the Stream VODs, and then the other is edited gaming content, etc., etc. With all that said, let's dive right in.
Throughout the late 19th and early 20th centuries, nationalism became a dominant force in global politics. It saw many peoples, including the Germans, the Italians, the Poles, the Bulgarians, the Romanians, and the Turks, amongst many others, carve out national territories in which they and their people could live. This was because those people saw themselves and their neighbours as being part of a homogenous group. This idea that the same people should live in a single united political entity was also found throughout the Middle East and expressed itself in what's called Pan-Arabism. Since this never happened, the question is, why not, and how close did the Pan-Arabist dream?
Hold on, let's take a look at this map, though. Hey, man. Okay. Are Egyptians considered Arabic? Like, obviously, this part of the world here, I would definitely consider Arabic. And then probably North Africa as well. Well, no, how big is the pre-Arabic descendant population here? I feel like it's hard to, I don't know. I feel like when I think of like Arabic people, like I know there was migrations Egypt westward, right? I know about the caliphates and stuff. I know about the all the migration stuff. But I don't know. Whenever I think of Arabic world, it is solely from the Sinai Peninsula eastward, the Arabian Peninsula, really, and Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, that Palestine, this kind of area. This is what I consider like the Arabic world. Um, don't really consider. I mean, yeah, I guess kind of. I don't know. Ah,
Is, why not, and how close did the Pan-Arabist dream come to fruition? Well, the idea of a unified Arab world started to be taken seriously in the late 19th century in opposition to Ottoman rule. During the First World War, many of these Arab nationalists rebelled against the Ottoman Empire and worked with the Entente powers to establish an independent Arab state. The Entente had agreed to this, but after the war was over, no. As such, Arab nationalism's aim continued to be the removal of imperial powers from their lands, and these nationalists were given outside help mostly from Egypt and Iraq. It wasn't until after World War II and the collapse of British and French rule in the region that Pan-Arabism really started to pick up. With the Cold
okay.
War raging onwards, both
So far, I'm not wrong.
the USA and USSR were looking to expand their influence in the region, and for many there, this wasn't on, because much of the Pan-Arabist ideology focused on removing all foreign influence from the region. It was also at this point that the overwhelming majority of Arab leaders, barring Lebanon, backed the creation of an Arab state. Yet this alone wasn't enough, and here we can learn from the unification of Germany, since unification was supported by most German leaders and the German people too. Yet it required several wars to achieve, and the reason why is that much like Arab leaders, the Germans agreed that a state should be made, yet they couldn't agree on who would lead it. So 1958 arguably saw the height of Arab nationalism when two attempts were made at building an Arab state. The first saw Egypt and Syria merge to become the United Arab Republic under Egyptian President Gamal Abdel Nasser.
Oh shit. I didn't know about this one.
The unification came about after the people of Syria got a bit communisty. Thus, the Syrian leadership approached Nasser to unify the states and put down any potential issues. There were several problems, though. The first was that Syria was mostly turned into an Egyptian colony, and it had little to no voice in the Union, and also, whilst Nasser was no friend of communism, he wasn't exactly protective of the business interests of Syria's leaders, and after numerous economic reforms, they decided that this was a bad idea, and in 1961, Syria declared its independence. The second Arab state state of 1958 was the Arab Federation, made from the merger of Iraq and Jordan, whose kings were cousins. Now, this union went nowhere because both had wildly different interests and neither could decide on who would be in charge. Not that the question mattered for long, since Faisal II, the king of Iraq, was deposed in a coup shortly afterwards. After this, there was one more notable attempt, and this was in 1971 when a coup in Libya placed Muammar Gaddafi in charge, who promptly proposed a union with Egypt, Sudan and Syria. This was backed by both the leaders and peoples of these countries, but it fell apart where nobody could decide on the details, notably who would be in charge. And ultimately, it's this reason why the creation of an Arab state failed. The public backing had always been there.
Damn, not even a single mention of Saudi Arabia. I thought they were like one of the dudes that was like a big part of the Arab rebellion against the Ottomans. I thought he was a big voice in this movement. And so I thought he would have been like mentioned or something. I guess Saudi Arabia doesn't have much. Okay.
And the region's leaders had always
I was
pushed for
wrong.
the unification of the Arab
Kinda.
world. The problem was that they all thought that they were going to be the ones to lead it. Combine this with differing foreign policy goals, particularly between the pro-Western Iraq and the pro-Soviet Egypt, and things get even more complicated. And it was these outside backers who had an interest in preventing the unification of the Arab world, since a unified Arab state would certainly have been a formidable global power, and at the height of the Cold War, nobody wanted the competition. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and
Yeah. Oh. Because also, that would have led to stability in the Middle East. And let me tell you, Western powers do not want the Middle East to be stable. No, no, no. Because then how are we gonna, get money from it, right? How can our interests, our Western interests, be supported, be profitable? How can we exploit the Arab world, if they were to unite, right? Gosh, think about other people, not just yourselves. Ugh. And that was why the Arab world did not unite. A short animated documentary. I'm actually a little bit surprised. I guess maybe the Sunni Shia divide isn't as important in the modern age as it perhaps once was. Or maybe that's a resurgence of modern day and wasn't that big of an issue in the 20th century. I don't know. I know there's a divide, but I am not certain how big it is in the modern day. You hear about it talked about sometimes, but I don't know. I don't know enough to really speak on it entirely. But yeah, that was this video by History Menace. This was good. I think they did a good job. It's not my favorite of theirs. So yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.